Hey guys, John back with another anti-guru video. You know, I was recently told off for calling myself the anti-guru. I don't know why. We just try and give out good advice, good content that is free with no upsell. What can we say? Anyway, as promised on our Property Expert Community Facebook group, and if you're not part of that group, then please join. You can find it, it's an open group on Property Expert on Facebook. As promised, I am recording the next instalment of the Madness of King Boris, which is the brand new September 2020 permitted development prior approval rights that are coming to you from the government that brought you lockdown. Now, we're going to be talking in a couple of seconds about Class AA, the way you can add floors, and I did say floors there, to your house. Join me in a few minutes when we'll be talking about that. Right. Now, it has taken me a while to reverse engineer all of this, and I'm going to be going through each of the other permitted development rights that have been brought forward in turn, reverse engineering them back. But I wanted to do AA, which is the enlargement of a house, not an HMO, so sorry HMO landlords, you're not covered by this, by the addition of stories. Now, I did say stories there, people, adding floors to a building. So the first thing I've got to say in this reverse engineering exercise is that this applies to all houses, be it detached, semi-detached or terraced. And yes, again, you did hear me right. I said the word terraced and I said the word semi-detached. You can't do it in a conservation area, listed building, area of outstanding natural beauty, where there's a defence asset, where you would impact upon a protected view. So if you're near to St Paul's or the Houses of Parliament, I'm sorry, those are protected views. But what you can do is do this in the Greenbelt. Can't do it in a national park, but you can do this in the Greenbelt. So you can add floors inside the Greenbelt, right? It is allowed. Where do we start with this? Well, let's start with the building you need to be looking for. So in reverse engineering all of this, we focus our attention first on the building you are looking for. Now, the building you are looking for can't be listed conservation area, as I said, all of those lovely restrictions. You can't do this next to Heathrow Airport. So most of the people in Uxbridge and Hillingdon, that area, are pretty much out of the game. But if your building was built between the 1st of July 1948 and the 28th of October 2018, then, my friends, then you can target that building. You can focus your attention on that building. You're not allowed to do this if the building has been previously altered by another permitted development right that adds stories, and there are a few others. We'll be talking about those later in the month. Or where you've applied for planning permission to add stories. So if you've gone and applied for additional floors on your bungalow and got that, I'm sorry, that is out of the game. So we're looking for an unaltered, effectively, house that was built between the 1st of July 48 and 28th of October 2018. I know there are going to be a lot of confusing comments about how to find out when a house was built. Check the old map, that's always a good starter for 10. Have a chat to an architect, because an architect or a good town planner should be able to look at a property and go, I think it's this. And if you think about it, that is within the realms of planning. So 48 is when planning permission was required. So there should be a planning permission for your house. So you should be able to pick up the date from that. Now, what can you do? Well, there are limits to this. There are limits to this. On a 2 or more story house, you may apply, and this is prior approval, so you have to apply to the council first. You can't just go ahead and do it. On a 2 or more story house, you may apply for prior approval for 2 additional stories. Yes, I said 2. So on a 2-story 1950s terraced house, you may apply, and it doesn't matter where the terraced house is, in the middle or at the end, you may apply for 2 additional stories on top of that 1950s 2-story terraced house. We live, me and Mrs. M, in a 1950s 2-story terraced house. I'm sure my landlord will be having a chat with me about this at some point in time. If you live in a single-story house, or your property is single-story, you're only allowed to add a story. So you're only allowed to go 1, add 1, or 2, add 2. And as a maximum, you can't exceed 18 metres. So for those eagle-eyed among you who are quick at quick maths, 18 metres is 6 stories. Now, I don't know of many properties existing that are 18 metres high, but there are some, apparently. So you're not allowed to exceed 18 metres. There are limits on roof height and ceiling height, depending on the type of property you are looking at. And the floor to ceiling height is quite interesting. 3 metres or no higher than the floors immediately preceding it. Okay? There aren't many buildings that have got 3 metre floor to ceiling heights. Most are floating around 2.7. So in reality, you're limited to whatever the building's got below. You must build the extension off the main elevation, so you must build it off the front. They don't want you building it at the back. They want you to build it off the front. You're not allowed to put an exoskeleton on the building, so you're not allowed to wrap the building in steel to hold it up, but you are allowed to do works to strengthen the walls internally, to beef up the foundations internally, and any other engineering operations you need to make the thing happen. Now, the council is allowed to make a decision on this. The determining issues are impact on adjoining properties in terms of light, outlook and privacy, design of the front elevation of the building, and any side elevation that faces a road. So you can do this on a corner, but they have to take into account the design and appearance of the building on the corner. Air traffic and defence, that's to stop you building a large sniper's tower in reality overlooking a military base, overlooking an international port or a defence asset, or more importantly, putting a big towering house at the bottom end of Heathrow's runway. You can't do that anyway. And impact on a protected view. If you are in one of those areas where you could have an impact on a protected view, they're allowed to take that into consideration as well. Neighbours are consulted, but they're only allowed to object on the 2 issues that affect them, which is impact upon them and design. Street scene has no bearing in this. It is only the design of the house that is taken into consideration. Street scene is out of the game as far as this regulation is written. Now, it remains to be seen how this is going to be taken. I think we're going to end up going through an appeal cycle at least once on this before councils settle down and get into a rhythm about how these are interpreted. But fundamentally, this is a charter, as far as I can see, for people to nest, for people to improve their own homes and improve the utility of their own homes. This is only the beginning, because as we'll show in later videos, there are other rights that affect single houses that are even more both exciting and scary all at the same time. Let me know in the comments below what you think, how you think this is going to bear out. I think the date is very interesting, 48 to 2018, Victorian properties, Edwardian properties, properties built in the 30s as part of urban expansion, they're all removed. This is just about stuff that's been built post the Planning Act. So let me know in the comments below. Share, like, subscribe. If you think this channel is useful, then please share it. Absolutely share it, because if you don't share, then who knows? And this is all about giving out information. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you on the next Anti-Guru.